Coach K. Stevenson has a resume second to none, and now he's sharing his insider information with you. Talk Football with Coach K starts right now on ESPN Pensacola.
Happy Thursday. Welcome to the program, Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola 1330, 99.1. On the FM dial, Coach K. Stevenson, and I'm Joe Ford in studio here. We are absolutely jam-packed today. A lot of news and notes to get to. We have a couple of guests on the line. Coming up in about 10 minutes from now, we'll be hitting up the P&J's Brian Ahatz with our weekly look around local high school football, and then Alex Scarborough, ESPN SEC reporter. Hear him a lot on the Paul Feinbaum Show. He'll be joining Coach coming up at 12:30 today. We start in the obvious place here, Coach, and we talked yesterday about the grievances that Antonio Brown has with the Oakland Raiders, posting on his Instagram a copy of the letter that General Manager Mike Mayock sent to him. And just about 10 minutes ago or so, if you were listening to the Dan Le Batard Show, you heard them on it. Adam Schefter breaking on Twitter that there was some sort of rift between Antonio Brown and Mike Mayock yesterday, and the team is considering or making the necessary steps to finding and suspending Antonio Brown on top of the fines that he's already received. Let me just correct that. They've already fined him, but now they're looking at suspending him. Don't know really the length of time, but Coach, it's really gotten to the point now where the Raiders are absolutely fed up with it. We heard about a month ago Mike Mayock saying that he's either all in or all out, and Antonio Brown's got the helmet situation resolved. Posted on his Instagram, and we talked about that yesterday, but now the news that the Oakland Raiders are taking further steps to hopefully kind of rein in a guy who hasn't done anything on the football field for them yet. They're paying a lot of money too, contractually, but it's reached kind of a boiling point at this point.
Well, here's the deal, and I say this with all sincerity. I hope to goodness they suspend him, and what would be ideal if they suspend him for the year. The NFL steps in and suspends him for the year. Now, I don't think that'll happen, but I think too much of the game of football, and the reason I'm saying that is I have too much regard for the game of football and for those people that give it their life's blood to have some clown act the way he does and just totally denigrate anything that you would look at in the way of integrity with the sport. It's a very, very distasteful situation to me in particular. Maybe more so to me, and I'm sure it's more so to me than it would be most people or the average fan out there. But I mean that sincerely. He needs to be suspended. The remainder of the players in the National Football League need to have a good, firm look at what total anarchy will get you. Now, if you don't want to play this game, Mr. Brown can go start his career as a brain surgeon or an attorney or a CEO of a large corporation, and he can go do that. And, this football may be holding him back from making a tremendous amount of money. So what he needs to do is go get on his own and not pollute the water for everybody else.
The number, if you want to weigh in, 623-1330. That's the phone number if you want to weigh in on the Antonio Brown saga or anything else that we discussed today. We have Bears-Packers we'll certainly get into in depth a bit later on. Coach, I wanted to get your thoughts on this. This was a tweet from Daniel Jeremiah, NFL Network reporter and analyst, saying, quote, "I don't know the exact amount Antonio Brown has been paid at this point in time by the Raiders, but I'm guessing it's not very much. I won't be surprised if they look to get out of this deal." So one of the things that we didn't really discuss yesterday, but at the very bottom of the letter, the last sentence or two in the letter that Mike Mayock sent to Antonio Brown had to do with the clause conduct detrimental to the team. It's something that you've highlighted before and brought up just today here. So I don't know that we're at that point yet. Although, hey, I mean, we're hearing it from him. He's a lot more dialed in, certainly, and has a better sense on the contractual lingo and how that works. But the Oakland Raiders have to be at the point now where if it's not buyer's remorse and if they aren't looking to get out of this deal, I'm just curious to know from your perspective the conduct detrimental to the team, and you may have some more insight here on that. But how could the Raiders be able to get out of that without having to pay him the $30 million that they guaranteed him when they signed him?
Oh, any any contract has parameters, and he has obviously violated those. Not being present when activities are planned is one of the major ones, and anything that would detract from the image that the National Football League team wants to have out there. And there are two of them, Joe. There's conduct detrimental to the team and conduct detrimental to the league. Now, obviously, to the league, the league would step in above and beyond any team discipline, and then that tolls any monies that are due, and it means they could suspend him for whatever time they wanted to. In fact, they could literally put a lifetime ban on him if they wanted to. Now, conduct detrimental to the league, such as murder, something like that, a criminal case.
Yeah.
You can see where a person would be exercised from the league totally. But yes, they can step in and it wouldn't be a fine; it would be a suspension. With no monies being paid to him.
So again, if you missed it, Antonio Brown and the Raiders, there was some sort of heated exchange, according to Adam Schefter yesterday. So now the team is planning to suspend its star wide receiver. And Coach, going on the field now, we have a big game tonight. The Bears and the Packers will get started for the 100th season of the NFL celebration there. And first chance at the Packers offense under Matt LaFleur. We have not seen Aaron Rodgers. They're in Chicago taking on a Bears defense without Vic Fangio, who was the defensive coordinator last year. So a couple things that you're looking for out of tonight's game.
Well, I'm looking to see what type offense they're going to run at Green Bay. That's number one. Number two, to see if Chicago can continue to improve with Trubisky at quarterback, and I suspect that they want that very much, and I suspect that he will. I think he's going to have to for them to get to the Golden Land, but we're going to know more tonight. I think Rodgers' relationship with the new coach is going to become quite evident. And so there are quite a few things we're going to be looking at. I don't know that that Green Bay has supplied him with enough receivers, Joe. They've helped their defense now, and they should be better defensively, which is a big plus. But I'm not so sure he has a first-class receiving corps out there, Rodgers.
Get back to the game in just a moment. Joining us on the line right now, Jonah, you had some reaction to the Antonio Brown news.
Yeah, how are y'all doing today?
Doing great. Football's back, baby.
I hear you. I wanted to make sure I heard this right because I believe the report just came across the line. Is he suspended by the team or by the league?
Right now he's suspended, or the formal announcement of the suspension has not been announced yet, but Schefter's reporting is that the team is now planning to suspend him.
Yeah, this is a team deal right now. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, well, I heard what you were saying, Coach K, and I respect where you're coming from, but as far as the conduct detrimental, I feel like it's a bit of a reach. I'm really astounded that the Players Association hasn't said anything yet, and it just happened. I feel like this would be something that would be handled in the arbitration process, and he has every right to do what he wants to do as a citizen. I don't consider what he's doing detrimental. Granted, it's not intelligent, but it's not detrimental to the Raiders organization.
Well, this was a hypothetical. Now, I'm not saying that what he is doing now is sufficient for conduct detrimental to the league. It could very well be conduct detrimental to the team. It could be construed that way. I'm not sure the depth that it's gone to and what type of disagreement he and Mayock got into. So until we knew all the details, we couldn't say that it absolutely is conduct detrimental or whatever. But the hypothetical here, what I'm talking about is there is certainly conduct that is detrimental, criminal activity, for example.
Oh, yes, sir.
In any number of things could be conduct detrimental to the team and the league, and that's what I'm talking about. And that certainly should be handled severely.
Yeah, if he broke the law in any way, I would 100% agree with you, Coach K, that obviously he needs to serve some kind of suspension for it. I mean, I remember when they had the problems in the league with Adam Pac-Man Jones and Chris Henry. It needs to be kept under control and make sure that kind of league doesn't get back to where it was.
Jonah, and just for everybody listening here, just wanted to be clear on what it is that Mike Mayock wrote in the letter to Antonio Brown. If you haven't had a chance to read it, again, this is not something that we talked about yesterday, but I think it's certainly worth mentioning now as the Raiders are at the point where they are looking at suspending him. Quote, please be advised that should you continue to miss mandatory team activities, including practice and games, the Raiders reserve the right to impose additional remedies available under the team's discipline schedule, the CBA, and your player contract, including but not limited to additional fines and discipline for engaging in conduct detrimental to the club. So this is not a league mandate, but so there's certainly a different standard or threshold when it comes to conduct detrimental to the team versus detrimental to the league. You know, examples like you've mentioned, the Pac-Man Jones, Chris Henry, certainly Aaron Hernandez, conduct detrimental to both team and league. But I feel like the threshold is probably a lot lower, Coach, in talking about conduct, basically what Antonio Brown's been doing since he's gotten there.
Absolutely. It's conduct detrimental any time that you, there are any number of things, obviously, you can do that's conduct detrimental. But certainly for the league, it would be a higher threshold. Yeah.
So as far as where we go from here, again, I mean, I think the conduct detrimental would be the combination, and thanks for the call, Jonah, we appreciate it, would be the combination of the missed practices, the missed games, the Instagram, and then I'm sure what happened was Mike Mayock tried to approach Antonio Brown about this, and that led to a fireworks show out at Raiders camp yesterday, and that's now where we're at. So whether the standard in your personal mind of conduct detrimental to the team has been met, the Raiders certainly think so, and now they're taking the additional steps. So we'll see if Antonio Brown isn't on the sideline or in uniform this coming Sunday. A lot will be known throughout the week.
I must say this, that in most cases, conduct detrimental to the team also includes insubordination. Okay, so people don't think about that. I mean, you just outright refuse to do what you're being asked to do, what everybody else is being asked to do. That's also conduct detrimental.
We'll go ahead and take our time out. Certainly going to keep abreast of this situation. Again, the news from Adam Schefter is that the Raiders are now looking into suspending Antonio Brown. We do not know the exact length of time the suspension may be, but that is the very latest after there was a dust-up between Antonio Brown and Mike Mayock. We'll take a quick timeout, come back, and switch gears. Look at high school football. Another week. It's week number 3 of the high school football season. Brian Ahatz with the PNJ is our guest. Next, you're listening to Talk Football with Coach K, ESPN Pensacola 1330, FM 99.1.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
Don't drop the ball this football season. Make Tom Thumb your game day destination. We are your first round pick for snacks, chips, dips, and drinks. Are you tailgating before the game? Don't get blindsided. Head to Tom Thumb for all your supplies. Score big savings with our rewards card. You'll earn 4 fuel points for every dollar spent in store. From hot dogs and buns to ice and propane, Tom Thumb has you covered to help you enjoy the game. For the ultimate game day, team up with Tom Thumb, the local store for local champions.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
Hello, everybody. You're looking live at Fansville, a college football utopia.
Fansville.
Where the rivers flow with ice-cold Dr. Pepper.
Delicious.
Where every day is Saturday and everyone's a fan, even babies.
Fan babies.
And the seasons never change because the only season is college football season. Get a taste of Fansville this fall during a college football game near you. Dr. Pepper, the official drink of Fansville. Grab some today.
All right, it's time for some straight talk. You wouldn't pay $100 for seats to a baseball game where you can get the same seats for $50. So why pay more on your wireless when you can get the same 4G LTE networks for up to half the cost? For $45 a month, get our unlimited plan with 25 gigs of high-speed data from Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, only at Walmart.
Savings may vary. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com.
At ESPN Pensacola, 1330 FM 99.1, we are football. Catch the biggest high school football games on Fridays, every UWF game on Saturdays. Then on Sundays, get ready for big games with the NFL Tailgate Show from 10 till noon. Plus, talk football with Coach K, weekdays from noon till 1, recapping the games and breaking down the upcoming matchups. It's football season, and it's on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 FM 99.1.
Talk football with Coach K, ESPN Pensacola 1330 FM 99.1. Coach K and Joe Ford in studio as we're getting set for week 1 of the NFL season as the Bears and the Packers get things kicked off from Soldier Field tonight. NBC with the game there. And Antonio Brown now facing the possibility of a suspension. News that broke about half hour or so ago. So keeping our eye on that, seeing if we can learn any more details by the end of the show. But Adam Schefter tweeting that out about a half hour ago. More NFL and college football. Again, Alex Scarborough, ESPN reporter for the SEC, will be on with Coach here in about 15 minutes. Right now, we're headed to the phone lines. Brian Ahatz, PNJ reporter covering high school football. Brian, how are you, my friend?
Hey, not too shabby. Everything is well. How are you guys doing?
Oh, we're doing great, and NFL's here, and you've got you're doing your interview in your Jalen Ramsey jersey, right?
Yeah. Hey, I would love to have one of those. Yeah, I'm always got a little bit of teal or gold on, or whether it's a hat or something when I'm just chilling. I I rep the Jags for sure. So, yeah, you already know.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, week number 3, our ESPN Pensacola High School Football Game of the Week. We will be covering Escambia and Pine Forest, two teams with not a loss on their records so far. 2-0 Escambia, 1-0 Pine Forest, so we're excited to call that one. That'll be on our sister station, News Radio 92.3 AM 1620, as the Pensacola Blue Wahoos will be in action here. Brian, are you going to be out there, or are you somewhere else this week?
Yeah, I was going to say that's a great pick by you guys. That is a high-profile game. I'll be out there.
Very good. So last week we were not in the same location. I think you were out. You saw Escambia though last week, if I'm remembering correctly.
I was at Catholic at Gulf Breeze. We did have my colleague Eric Wallace was at Escambia versus Crestview. He filled me in on that, and I've been able to watch a lot of tape from that.
Okay, so let's talk about that. Gulf Breeze Catholic game, two teams that we haven't seen yet. I think we've got Gulf Breeze coming up in the next week or so. So one of the high-profile games of the weekend there. What did you see? What did you take away?
Well, I think, Catholic I'm really intrigued by this year. You know, they're a 3A team, got a lot of guys that play both ways, and they've had two really pretty quality wins this year. Week 1, they beat Mobile Christian, which is a top 5 ranked team in Alabama, Class 3A, and Gulf Breeze is probably one of the best 2-loss teams that you'll see in the state of Florida right now. Gulf Breeze lost to both Catholic and Navarre, which I have both of them in my top 3 in the power poll in this area. So Gulf Breeze was able to take a lead in that one. They were up 7-6 at halftime, and they made it 14-6 after returning the opening kick in the third quarter. But Catholic, they really hung in through that adversity, forced a really timely fumble on an option, and after that, they just rolled that momentum to a 24-14 win. So Catholic, pound for pound, if you will, I think they're one of the best teams around here. They have one of the best chances to make a run in their respective classification once the state playoffs roll around. They got 8 returning starters on defense, which is very rare, and that defense has been keeping them in both games so far this season. I think that'll be a trend for them all year long.
Hey, Brian, you were perfect last week on your picks.
Now this is
that's why we're waiting. We're waiting to see what you've got this week. You should be perfect again.
Now, I do have to confess that there was an error. And when I said undefeated, I meant against participants. But we did look back, and there was an error, and it's something that has never happened before. So I just want to come clean and I can't gloat in that in this time. So it was a mistake that I've never made, and I will never make again. I'm almost positive. But anyways, moving on to this week, I'm going to clear that up in my column. It will be in tomorrow's paper about that mistake. So I feel terrible about that, but all I can do right now is give credit to the ones that I failed to mention last week, and I'm going to move forward to this week. So yeah, I'm feeling good about this week though.
Brian Ahad's our guest on the line, reporter for the PNJ covering high school football. Does a great job. Brian, first time we had you here in studio, you went through all of the area teams and kind of power ranked them. Now that we're into week 3, what is for you the biggest surprise in terms of is there a particular team or two that, looking back, you had ranked way too low or perhaps way too high?
Well, I think the two teams you look at are Washington and West Florida. I think that outcome of that game last week was not one that people would have pegged. I think West Florida is much further down than a lot of people thought, and Washington has played much better than a lot of people in the area thought. I have Washington in a 4th place tie with Pine Forest. As you guys remember, that game with Pine Forest in week 1 was about as even as it gets. Scoreless in the middle of the third quarter.
Yeah.
With Pine Forest driving with the ball. So Washington, and then had that explosive 22-0 win over West Florida. So I think by looking at that game itself, it kind of shows the two biggest surprise teams in the area, where West Florida having a lot of potential and seeming to have a lot of unforced errors that have prohibited them from being in a close finish through 2 weeks. And Washington has been, played Pine Forest, which was a lot of people would say was the area favorite, played them very close, and of course had a statement convincing win to get the program's first win. I think it's been more than 500 days, since October 2017, first win for Washington, and West Florida, a team that has won 5 district championships in a row. So Washington, we'll like to see more how they continue to play, and we've got to see if West Florida can get through these hiccups and make something out of this season. I've been told that some of their best players weren't able to play last Friday, so I don't know how much that factors into it. I guess they were missing super senior defensive back Dante Thompson and one of the area's best all-around athletes, Simeon Price. I know he cramped up pretty bad, and I think he got beat up a little bit in that Escambia game. I'm not exactly sure all the details. So still early, but as of right now, Washington is the biggest positive surprise, and West Florida is I would say the other side of that coin, the biggest surprise.
And Brian, a couple of other questions here, just briefly here in the time that we have left here. Of course, with high school football, the other big element about high school football is recruiting and keeping our eye on individual players. And I'll tell you a couple of guys who have really stood out to me thus far, who may or may not have been on college's radar at this point, and you can maybe help me out on that. But Escambia has a running back, Frank Peason. He's averaging over 100 yards in both of the games. We got a really good look at him week 1. I'm excited to see how he looks again on Friday. And then Eric Smith Jr. for Washington, 6'4" wide receiver. Those are the two guys to me that really stand out from who I've personally seen. On your side, whether we've been at the same game or not, who are a couple of players that have really made a name for themselves here early on?
Samuel Hooker, defensive end at Catholic High, has 4 sacks through 2 games, a couple forced fumbles. He's a defensive end that it just has he's one of those experienced returning starters for Catholic. Seems to have a really good nose for the football, great motor. I think he's a bit of a sleeper. Some of his defensive teammates have gotten some interest from Stetson, and I could see him getting some looks like that and maybe something greater. So he's really jumped off the page. You're spot on with Frank. He's got his offers. Eric Smith Jr. is definitely a sleeper, but he's got the frame and the high point ball skills, to be a big time recruit, I think. At Gulf Breeze, I really like Tyree Smith, a defensive tackle. Was a second-team All-State selection last year, and he's just, whenever you feel that Gulf Breeze needs a big play, a tackle for loss, you look up and it seems like Tyree Smith is making that play. He's a little bit short for the prototypical defensive tackle recruit, but he makes all the plays. I hear he's got interest from UWF, and it's, hate to say it, but if he was a little bit taller, I think he would be a Division I or maybe even a Power 5 guy already. So as he gets some more film, we'll see what kind of looks he gets.
And finally, Brian, for the Beat Brian contest, if folks aren't registered, tell them how they can sign up.
Well, you got about 5.5 hours left to hop on pnj.com/sports and check out the Beat Brian, the most recent Beat Brian story on there. It'll tell you how everything went down last week and what to do this week. Send me an email to BACHATV@pnj.com. The email's in that story. In the subject line, include #BeatBrian to qualify, and then just clearly indicate a winner for all. I think it's 7 games in the area this week, maybe 8, 7 or 8. And then clearly indicate those winners, and we'll tally it all up and put it out there Monday.
All right. Well, hey, Brian, we'll see you out at the stadium tomorrow. Thanks so much for all you do, and we'll look forward to talking next week.
Yes, sir. Most definitely. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks again.
All right. Brian Ahatz, PNJ reporter, covers high school football, does a great job, Coach, and always a really good segment to do because, for as much as we talk college and the NFL. High school is huge in this area. So
yeah, that's where they all come from.
Brian and myself, kind of owning the market, if you will. But yeah, Brian, so knowledgeable about the high school game and just the area and the players. So very excited to, very happy to have him on each week.
By the way, interesting to hear you guys talk about players already this early in the season. But my gosh, 4 sacks in 2 games.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. That's spectacular.
And I'll just add, I've had a chance now to see Washington High School twice, and a team that went winless a year ago to now be a team that's really been talked about all offseason long. We kept hearing from Brian about just how they were using social media and fan engagement to really drum up a lot of support and a lot of momentum. And on the field, they have looked really good. On Friday, we had the Eric Smith show, 6'4" wide receiver. He had, I think, 11 catches for about 160 yards and 2 touchdowns. Could not stop him on Friday, but wasn't just him. Quarterback was making good throws. The defense was outstanding, pitching a shutout against West Florida. So Washington High School certainly on the upswing as we are looking forward to seeing them. Again, our game tomorrow is Escambia and Pine Forest. So looking forward to seeing those 2 teams again as well. So with that, it's the Florida State War Chant. You know what that means? Call us right now, 623-1330. Final chance to be entered to win a pair of tickets to Florida State and ULM this Saturday. All you got to do is call us, and we'll take your name and your phone number, and if you're the winner, we'll let you know. 623-1330. We'll be back in a moment.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
Don't drop the ball this football season. Make Tom Thumb your game day destination. We are your first round pick for snacks, chips, dips, and drinks. If you're tailgating before the game, don't get blindsided. Head to Tom Thumb for all your supplies. Score big savings with our rewards card. You'll earn 4 fuel points for every $1 spent in store. From hot dogs and buns to ice and propane, Tom Thumb has you covered to help you enjoy the game. For the ultimate game day, team up with Tom Thumb, the local store for local champions.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
Sometimes your bank, your family, and your friends love you, but they don't have the money to help you. Sometimes we have chances to make money, but the old saying, you've got to have money to make money, rings true. At Pensacola Specialty Pond, we can help. If you have trucks, heavy equipment, airplanes, boats, jet skis, anything with value, Pensacola Specialty Pond can loan you that short-term money you need. No credit checks, and at Pensacola Specialty Pond, you're going to find the money and the discretion you need.
Now at 6428 Pensacola Boulevard, north of Car City. Call 432-9050, 432-9050.
Fall is all about color. So is Vigoro Colored Mulch at the Home Depot. Right now at Labor Day savings of 5 bags for just $10. Vigoro is 100% natural shredded wood in 3 beautiful shades. It beautifies your garden while retaining moisture. And at this low price, it also looks great on your budget. Today is the day for doing with Labor Day savings on Vigoro mulch, 5 bags, just $10. Now at the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. Selection varies by store.
Again, the Florida State War Chant, if you want to get registered to win a pair of tickets to Florida State ULM. Give us a call, 623-1330. We'll get you registered for a chance to win. We'll pick the name tomorrow, 623-1330. And joining us on the line right now, Alex Scarborough, ESPN SEC reporter, and kind enough to join us to preview what should be an awesome week 2 around the SEC. Taking it a bit on the chin there, Coach, but hopefully a nice rebound week ahead.
Yeah, you bet. Alex, we appreciate you coming on with us.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
And let's back up to last week here for just a moment and take a look at the SEC. Everybody's talking about what a lump on the head the SEC took last week. Those things happen when you're, especially in first ball games, when you're maybe not quite ready to play and other circumstances surrounding ball games. But I guess in particular, as you might imagine, our area, Alabama, Auburn, Florida State, and quite a few LSU people in this area as well. So let's take a look at the, of course, that was a big win for Auburn, huge win for Auburn. I think it really, I thought Oregon might win that ball game.
Oh, I'm right there with you. I thought the Ducks were going to come out firing, and quite frankly, it looked like that for the first half. That was a game, I think, when they looked on Sunday and then again on Monday maybe, they might have been kicking themselves that they couldn't have jumped out to a bigger lead and really put that game to bed. But give Auburn credit. They kept fighting. That defense hung in there, made enough plays, and then Bo Nix having a signature moment, his first game of his career. So not only propelled Auburn, I think it saved what could have been a really bad initial weekend for the SEC by winning that game against a team some considered maybe a marginal playoff contender, but a playoff contender nonetheless. So I think for those who want to say the conference had a bad weekend, I think that's fair in a lot of the cases, a lot of those games. But if you remember the Auburn game and you go back a week earlier to that, and the fact that Florida pulled out a game against a Miami team that's pretty darn good, I think they salvaged a decent weekend, but Auburn the clear winners.
Well, I couldn't agree with you more, and my goodness, what a tremendous situation that is now for Bo Nix and for Auburn. It's not that he had a particularly good football game as you dissect quarterback's efficiency during a game, but to come back in that particular pressure-packed situation, the last minute of a ball game, and win it, and have to make some outstanding throws, Alex, downfield. Those were major league throws that he made. The first one to the sideline over there, and then the back shoulder throw to the end zone. Just outstanding, and that gives a kid not only what it does for him from a confidence standpoint, but what it does for his teammates and those coaches at Auburn.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing that stood out to me. I mean, we all know that Bo has talent, and he'll continue to develop in terms of decision-making. It was just the confidence. It was between the ears. It was looking in his eyes and seeing there was no doubt, there was no backing down. He was going to go down the field, and he was going to find a way to win the game. And a true freshman in his first game, that's really rare. And you hear that coming out of Auburn, that this isn't your typical true freshman quarterback. And they showed why. And they're going to continue to need him. I know the next couple of games, Tulane and Kent State aren't necessarily anything you sort of think is going to be the meat grinder. But then when you start getting into it with the A&Ms, Florida, the meat of the schedule, LSU down the road, Georgia and Alabama, it's going to be a very difficult season for Auburn. Doesn't mean it can't be a special season, but they obviously need to get the first one out of the way in Oregon and get that confidence. And I think as as Bo goes and as that offense goes is how I think Auburn is going to go, because they definitely have the defense to complement them.
I agree, and what a difference that win makes. A loss there with the remaining schedule they have would have been tough living in Auburn, Alabama.
The wheels would have come off, and as we both know, in Auburn, things get going in a hurry one way or another, and it's good for Gus and his job security for the time being that he got that first one out of the way, because it could have been a little bit of a slippery slope there.
Yeah, you bet. Well, in a minute, we're going to talk about the two biggies coming up this weekend. But how is you're right there in Tuscaloosa. How's the temperature around Tuscaloosa? I know they've got some tough games coming up, but what's the overriding feeling right now?
I think you had to walk away from Saturday feeling pretty good. Obviously, the final score looks sterling, only giving up 3 points to Duke. And I think what you saw is you were looking for, okay, what's the offense going to look like with Steve Sarkisian back calling plays again? And while it wasn't the big play home run offense we saw a year ago, it was methodical and Tua was poised, and it got the job done. And I think he only had 5 incompletions to 4 touchdown passes. I mean, that's a really good day. I think there are things to work on with the offensive line. The running backs need to have a little bit better decision-making. But I think the number one thing, if you're an Alabama fan right now, that you have to feel good about is that you had the heartbreaking news earlier last week with Dylan Moses being sidelined for the season with a knee injury, is that you had 2 true freshmen inside linebacker, and they didn't hurt you. They played pretty well, and they're only going to continue to develop. So to give up only 3 points to a really well-coached Duke offense, I know they're not the same caliber as some other SEC teams are going to play. It was a good sign, especially when you look at the players that they've had to replace on that side of the ball.
I couldn't agree with you more. I thought it was a very, very big day for Alabama in that regard. The other thing that I feel like probably is the case there, I would imagine that Saban kind of likes that taking your time, getting down the field, moving the chains, keeping his defense on the sideline more. They were certainly, it was obvious. You're right, they were not the down the field throwing football team that we saw last year. Now, if they should happen to get that running game cranked up, along with that move the chain passing game, it certainly gives their offense a different look.
Yeah, and I think we will continue to see big plays out of the passing game. I mean, when you have Tua at quarterback and those receivers, I mean, it's just an embarrassment of riches there. They're going to have that, but I think you hit the nail on the head. I think Nick Saban likes this kind of offense where they can control the tempo of the game a little bit more, get that defense some rest, get them to be able to go to the sidelines and make adjustments. Because while it's a good problem to have when your offense can score quickly, it can sort of catch up with you on the other side of the ball. And the one thing Nick Saban always wants is he wants balance. So I think this is a refreshing thing. We'll see how it sort of plays out in the coming weeks. But I have a hard time imagining him looking at what happened against Duke and not liking it for the entire team, not just the offense.
No, I agree. Listen, I promised you I would not keep you over time, so we're going to have to get on to the 2 big games coming up this weekend, Alex. So let's start with LSU at Texas, and I think it's a heck of a ball game and should be a great showcase for all of us.
Oh, 100%. I can't wait for kickoff on Saturday for this one. Not only, obviously I want to see if Texas is back. We've been hearing it for several years now. Tom Herman was the big name in coaching, and I think he's got that program where he wants it to be. But I'll tell you what, I went back and I watched the LSU opener, and I know it's against Georgia Southern. But what I saw what they were doing offensively, just schematically, let alone execution, which was off the charts, what they were doing schematically in terms of spreading the field, RPO, hurry up, it looked unlike any LSU offense we've seen in a long time. They've had, as we well know, their issues on that side of the ball and not really getting into the modern age of football. I know they tried with Matt Canada, and that sort of fell apart really quickly. But I think the addition of Joe Brady as the passing game coordinator and the return of Joe Burrow at quarterback running an offense he told me he'd never taken a 7-step drop before last season, and now he's back in the shotgun. Now he's back doing the things he's done his entire life. I think you saw a lot of promise on that side of the ball, and when you have the skilled players that they have at receiver and at running back, I'm very interested to see this offense, which had a really nice soft opening against Georgia Southern, seeing what they are in the grand opening, playing a really, really good Texas defense.
I agree with you, and I think so goes Joe Burrow, so goes LSU. And listen, sometimes that difference between year one and year two is very, very evident, not only for a football team, but for in particular for quarterbacks.
100%. And let's not discredit the fact that Joe Burrow was pretty good last season. He found a way to win games. His numbers weren't off the charts, but I think he endeared himself to teammates, and he really got himself in a good position where now I think he's ready to take off.
I agree with you. And let's jump, Alex, to Texas A&M going over to Clemson now. Some people may be a little shocked at this game, but what's your take on it?
I think the shock is going to end up being last season's game more than I think it's going to be this one. I know last season everybody looked at it and it was sort of, despite losing the game, it felt like Texas A&M's coming out party under Jimbo Fisher. They played really solid on both sides of the ball. Kellen Mond made some big plays, and they looked like they were further ahead as a program than where we thought they'd be with Jimbo taking over there. And while I think that program's still good, I tell you what, you watch this Clemson team, and they just appear to be on another level right now. I think with the quarterback coming back, Etienne at running back's just remarkable. Their skill players, Justin Ross, while I think it's going to be a good game for a half, and while I like where A&M's heading, I think this Clemson team is a team on a mission right now, and having that game at home, it's going to be great leading up to kickoff. I just have this sinking feeling in the second half they're going to find a way to run away with it.
Well, you may well be right, I'll tell you, because I too have all the respect in the world for this Clemson team, and I do think they have a once-in-a-generation type quarterback there. So it's going to be interesting to see. I think Texas A&M is going to play them tough. I'm going to tell you this: I would not be surprised if A&M wins this ball game. But at any rate, Alex, I can't thank you enough. I'm going to let you go. We'll not continue to hold you on, but I appreciate you coming on, my friend, and would like to have you back on at some point in the future here, if you don't mind.
It's my pleasure. Give me a buzz anytime.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right, so Alex Scarborough, SEC reporter for ESPN, doing a good job there, and I thought it was really interesting, Coach. We've talked a lot about LSU. We've talked a lot about as Burrow goes, so does LSU. But I thought it was really interesting, the comments about how he is doing things and this offense is doing things that are a lot different and have LSU fans really excited because the quarterback has been the Achilles heel for so long with so many athletes out there. So it seems like it's coming together for LSU this year.
I think so. I really do. I agree with what he said, and I think it's very evident. This a huge ball game. Think of the consequences of this game with Texas. It's big.
Absolutely. And Herman and Ogeron, 6 versus 9, the first top 10 matchup of the season. So it'll be a good one. Coming back, we've got a game to pick. We've got the Packers and the Bears from Soldier Field tonight. And we'll also take a look at a couple other NFL games that we're looking forward to seeing on Sunday. So that's coming back. Talk football with Coach K, ESPN Pensacola 1330, 99.1 FM.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text. Stop the wrecks.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
There's only one place in town for the lowest prices and greatest selection of firearms. Pensacola Indoor Shooting Range. Visit our fully stocked Gun Pro Shop for new and used firearms, accessories, and ammunition. Check out the Indoor Shooting Range. We offer rentals on guns, including fully automatic machine guns and silencers. Ladies, this is the safe place to learn how to use a gun. Plus, Tuesday is Ladies' Day. Women shoot for half price all day. The best place to buy firearms in Pensacola. Pensacola Indoor Shooting Range. Highway 29 in Car City.
Today, business happens here, and virtually anywhere. Because today, innovative companies are reinventing the way business happens, and they need people who can keep up. With the expertise and technology to get packages to over 150 million delivery points. So, who can help you deliver the future of commerce? The United States Postal Service. See why we deliver more e-commerce packages to homes than anyone at USPS.com/future.
Don't you hate scrambling on the road when you're looking for a place to spend the night?
We all do. That's why when you travel for work, stay at La Quinta by Wyndham.
They've got everything you need to tackle the job, from free high-speed Wi-Fi to a spacious workspace right in your room.
Plus, their Bright Side breakfast comes with waffles, eggs, fruit, and meat.
Now, that's a game changer.
They've got over 900 locations so you can cover the gridiron.
And best of all, they're part of Wyndham Rewards, so those extra points really add up.
Tonight, La Quinta. Tomorrow, you triumph. Book direct at LQ.com.
Lowe's helps pros like you get the job done right by having more of the supplies you use most in stock every day. Like treated lumber, fencing, and decking in the quantities you need for any size job. And we help you save with deals like $20 off a Metabo HPT 3.5-inch gauge 21-degree pneumatic framing nail, now just $179. Order ahead at lowesforpros.com and have your order delivered or pick up in store. Our dedicated pro loaders will load you up and get you back to the job site where you're needed most. Do it right for less. Start with Lowe's. Offer valid through 9/8, U.S. only.
Talk football every day with Pensacola's own Coach K.
The key on offense is going to be whether Franks can come back and duplicate what he did in the last 4 games.
Every weekday, noon till 1 on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 FM 99.1.
ESPN Pensacola is your home to UWF Argos football. Catch every game, home or away, on Pensacola's home for local sports. ESPN Pensacola 1330 FM 99.1.
ESPN Pensacola 1330 99.1 FM. You're listening to Talk Football with Coach K. Coach K and Joe Ford in studio with you here. Programming note coming up tonight at 5:30, I believe, is the start time with the pregame. UWF and Carson Newman getting their seasons underway tonight. So UWF in action. Game starts at 6 o'clock. That'll be right here on ESPN Pensacola. Blue Wahoos over on News Radio 92.3 AM 1620. Back on ESPN Pensacola tomorrow. And then the high school football game of the week between Escambia and Pine Forest will be on News Radio 92.3 AM 1620. So the time we have left, Coach, a lot of good games in the NFL coming up, but we start with the one tonight as the Bears a 3-point favorite against the Green Bay Packers, the NFL's oldest rivalry, to kick off the 100th season of the National Football League. Soldier Field, so the Bears getting the 3-point home spread there, and really interesting matchup. I mean, it's 3 points, which essentially means it's a pick'em game. Aaron Rodgers, and really for as long as I've been alive or been following the NFL since the mid-'90s, it doesn't really seem to matter who the Packer quarterback was. Of course, there's really only been 2, Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers, but they always seem to get it done against Chicago. That may be changing a little bit as the Bears have a defense led by Khalil Mack, of course. They have Mitch Trubisky now heading into year 3. A lot of changes in terms of personnel, especially running the football now. Looks like David Montgomery is going to be starting running back, no more Jordan Howard. You like what the Packers have done defensively, although we talked earlier, not so much. You think Aaron Rodgers could probably use a little bit more help, and especially against a defense like Chicago has.
Yeah, I do. I'm a little concerned about them not giving him the receiving help that he needs. Now, he has done, or they've done a good job in getting some of the defensive help that they needed, and they've been very poor on defense, I think, for quite a long while. So to me, it's going to be very interesting to see, one, just how much they're going to be able to support Rodgers. If this is Rodgers against Trubisky, Green Bay wins it.
Right.
And Trubisky made a lot of progress last year. I wonder how much he's made this year, and we're going to see tonight. We know Chicago's got a good defense. But it's still, if it boils down to who has the best game between Rodgers and Trubisky, then Green Bay wins it.
Another key element of this game is that the Bears' defense, for the personnel that they had, but they had Vic Fangio calling the defensive plays, and now he's the head coach of the Denver Broncos. So as a head coach, as a former head coach, and putting yourself in Matt Nagy's position here for the Chicago Bears, is there much concern about the fact that Vic Fangio is no longer there, that somebody else is calling the plays? Because I'm sure even if they're from the same system, he's probably going to want to do things a little bit differently. So maybe some concern that the Bears aren't quite as great defensively as they were a year ago, maybe?
Well, that's always a possibility, but who that person is the key. Now, I think it's the former head coach of the Colts, Pagano, who is there. He's a good defensive coach, and my guess is that he's gonna do a good job with that defense.
So the Bears favored by 3 points. Coach, I guess we'll take time now to make our official pick for the game. 3-point spread. Bears are the favorites at home. Are you going with Aaron Rodgers, or are you taking the Bears defense?
I'm gonna say that I'm gonna go with Chicago. I mean with Green Bay, but I think it's gonna be nip and tuck.
I am going to pick the Bears. I think the Bears will win at home. I'm thinking probably in the neighborhood of about 27-24. So I'll pick the Bears to win. I'll take the Bears to cover the 3-point spread there. But again, should be a great game. Again, that's on NBC starting at 7:20 our time here. So looking forward to seeing that. Looking ahead to Sunday, we've already gone over a few games that we're looking forward to seeing, Coach. One game that we haven't talked about yet this week. Our first look at the Cleveland Browns. New look with Odell Beckham, Jarvis Landry, all of the offseason talk. Doesn't matter anymore. It's on the fields in between the white lines, and the Tennessee Titans come to town to take on the Cleveland Browns. So excited to see the new look Browns offense. Myles Garrett now another year, and he's quickly emerging into one of the very top elite pass rushers in this game. So Cleveland, chance to put up or shut up now. It all starts Sunday.
Yeah, and I think Cleveland puts up. I really do. I like what I see with the talent that's assembled there. And more so than that, I think they got a winner at quarterback. I think he's just a winner. Now, I'd like him to maybe keep his mouth shut a little more, but he's not doing anything that's too drastic.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think he's a winner kid.
Another noon game, Baltimore traveling down south to take on the Miami Dolphins. Brian Flores' head coaching debut, and we get to see the debut of the new offense for the Baltimore Ravens. Greg Roman, the offensive coordinator. He is familiar with the running-type quarterback that Lamar Jackson is. He was in charge of the 49ers offense when Colin Kaepernick was there. And so I'm very interested to see what this offense looks like. Coach, long-term, you don't necessarily think that this offense, especially if Lamar Jackson is running as often as he was last year, is sustainable. But at least early on, it should be fun to see what happens.
Well, they couldn't have picked a better opponent to go open up with than Miami. Certainly, the Ravens should win this ball game. They just got better personnel all the way, both sides of the football. So it's just a better team playing a lesser team, even to the extent that it's more akin to a college game where you don't see much disparity in the National Football League, but you do in college. And this would be the closest to that.
And Lamar Jackson, who's born and raised about 30 minutes from Dolphin Stadium. I don't remember the formal name for it now, but he's from the Miami area, so he is certainly looking forward to homecoming and hoping to show out with the new-look Baltimore Ravens offense. So that's a storyline to keep in mind, how Lamar Jackson plays on Sunday. So that'll do it for us. A very busy Thursday. Enjoy the Bears-Packers, 7:20 tonight on NBC. We'll be back tomorrow at high noon to go over the rest of the NFL and college football schedule this weekend.
It's almost fall, and that means football. And ESPN Pensacola 1330 is all about football. We've got UWF Argos football every Saturday, high school football every Friday night. If you'd like to partner with ESPN Pensacola as a sponsor or promotional partner, give us a call at 262-6000.
ESPN Pensacola, 1330 FM 99.1, WEBY, Milton, Pensacola.
ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. I'm Davis Allen with your sports headlines. It was a heartbreaking defeat for the Pensacola Blue Wahoos, dropping the first game against the Biloxi Shuckers in the Southern League playoffs 11-10 after tying the game off an Alex Kirilloff grand slam in the top of the ninth inning. Shortstop Royce Lewis followed with a home run of his own to give the Blue Wahoos a 10-9 lead in the top of the ninth, but the Shuckers wouldn't go away, tying the game in the bottom of the ninth inning, and then Dylan Thomas ending the game in the bottom of the 10th inning with a walk-off home run. The Blue Wahoos look to even up the series tonight with a win in Game 2, which can be heard on our sister station, News Radio 92.3, AM 1620. First pitch at 6:35. In the NFL, the Los Angeles Chargers reportedly turned down a trade offer from the Philadelphia Eagles for holdout running back Melvin Gordon. Philadelphia proposed sending running back Jordan Howard to Los Angeles in exchange for Gordon and a swap of mid-round picks. The Chargers reportedly were asking for a first-round pick or a player close to that equivalent for Gordon, who is scheduled to make $5.6 million this season. Oakland Raiders wide receiver Antonio Brown posted on his Instagram story a letter he received from general manager Mike Mayock that stated he has been fined $53,950 for missing mandatory team activities during the offseason. The letter also said Oakland could take further action if Brown continues to miss mandatory team activities. Brown wasn't afraid to share his thoughts, however, when he took to Instagram saying, quote, "When your own team wants to hate, but there are no stopping me now, devil is a lie. Everyone got to pay this year, so we clear." And the UWF Argos kick off their season tonight against Carson Newman. You can hear all that coverage play-by-play with Will Kennedy starting with the pregame show at 5:30 on ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. I'm Davis Allen with your sports headlines on ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Today, my new dad and I shot off a rocket in the park.
Today, my new son and I failed to shoot off a rocket.
He knew exactly what to do.
I had no clue what I was doing.
We set up the rocket.
Hit ignition.
And then?
And then nothing. Sometimes I laugh when I'm frustrated.
Then out of nowhere, the rocket launched into the air.
The rocket did get into the air.
I've never seen anything fly so high.
And then crashed into a kite.
Look out! Look out!
And then the pond.
I'll never forget that day.
I'll never forget that day, even if I tried.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are. For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Jackson Pace Pharmacy has exciting news for ED patients. Viagra 100 milligram generic is finally here. Get it today. 30 tablets for $80, less than $3 a pill. You heard right. Viagra 100 milligram generic is less than $3 a tablet. A prescription from your doctor is required, so stop by Jackson Pace Pharmacy and cash in on the savings today. 2256 West 9 Mile Road in Pensacola.
Hey, Chad Brillante here from the Sports Drive. Well, mixed bag in the South in college football this week. Not the best overall week for the SEC, but Alabama and Georgia continue to win. While in Tallahassee, more domain names are being bought, like FireTaggart or FreeWilly.com. Probably don't want to Google the last one. Awesome to see a record-setting performance from Jalen Hurts at Oklahoma, much sooner than many expected. And Bo knows comebacks at Auburn. I'll join myself and Joe Ford 5 to 7, Monday through Friday, for the Sports Drive, right here on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. And welcome into Roll Tide Radio right here on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. I am Chad Brillante, and if the show is streaming right now on Facebook, and if anyone saw me dancing to the Alabama Crimson Tide fight song as the LSU wife she is, I'm in deep trouble. That's all I'm going to say right there. On that note, Roll Tide and welcome into the show here as we're going to break down a game where we're probably going to move on from the game itself as Alabama gets set to take on New Mexico State. They got a decent basketball program. They're about a 55-point underdog. That's actually exactly right, 55-point underdog this week against the Crimson Tide. They're not going to win this football game, but I think Alabama and Nick Saban, first off in the press conference, you're never going to hear anything negative about their opponent. It's a good political football-esque type strategy, and I don't blame him for 1 second. But you look right now at the way that they came out right out of the chute in week one. And not only played well for 3 quarters, but the defense was what most people wanted to see. Alabama, it was 0-0 in the first quarter, but here's the deal with Alabama's offense. Don't worry, be happy. You don't have to worry at all. Just be happy. Because at the end of the day, you've got the 4 best receivers. This is the best receiving corps in the history of college football. I'm not just throwing that one around. Oh, my goodness. These are the best sandwiches I've ever had. And you're like, Sally, you said that on Sunday. You're like, okay, oh my God, I literally would eat a whole cow. Like, no, you wouldn't. That would be disgusting, and that thing would attack you if you try to get on Jerry's farm. But overall, this is the best wide receiving corps I have ever seen in the history of college football. You've got 4 guys that all could be first-round picks, and wide receiver is not one of those. You don't take a wide receiver in the first round unless, first off, he freaks you out at the combine with like 4.2 speed and becomes a bust like Darius Hayward-Bay, or goes out there and decides to be that Julio Jones kind of guy, A.J. Green kind of guy. There's a few of them. Well, they've got at least 3 of them, I'd say 4 of them, that deserve the credit. As Coach K. Stevenson, you can listen to on Talk Football each and every afternoon from 12 to 1 with the greatest of interviews leaving right here, and always enjoy listening to his show and catching up with Coach. Former NFL coach. Got to be exciting tonight with the Green Bay Packers and the Chicago Bears, as they have a number of athletes. Actually, I believe they have 2 athletes from each of the schools. The Bears, Clinton Dix, one of the best names in the game, and Eddie Jackson, pretty good secondary to have from Crimson Tide players. And then Green Bay, I know they got J.K. Scott, the punter, and Tony Brown, 2 solid players. Tony Brown's a huge 6'7" guy, remember, just crushing people in the bowl game. He is a freak of nature, but Nick Saban had to pull him to the sidelines a few times and tell him to shh. So overall, 55 players in the NFL from the Crimson Tide. No shock there. The sad part is, number 2 is LSU, and number 3, guess who? The Tennessee Volunteers, which is sort of sad for Vols fans because they just lost to Georgia State. And this is a team that is sending guys to the NFL, good athletes, when they make it out without getting in trouble. Looking at the Alabama Crimson Tide, though, because this is Roll Tide Radio, the game against Duke, when it was 0-0 in the first quarter, it wasn't that pretty. But you know the problem wasn't going to be the offense. You've got what you can argue was the best quarterback in college football last year with Trevor Lawrence, because Lawrence, good old sunshine right there from Remember the Titans, only actually played in one half, so it's hard to justify. I mean, only one half of the season, even though every game he played in, it was pretty much a dominant, even in the national title. But for the Crimson Tide, the offense didn't need to prove to the country. To me, it was the defense that had a lot of new names, that had a lot of new faces, and had a linebacking core that just lost probably the Buckus winner in Dylan Moses to start the season. So with Moses and guys like you watch McMillan, all these guys not having a chance to play, we wanted to see that core linebacker group because you know guys were going to step up. Anthony Jennings did exactly that, 6 tackles. Shane Lee, who looks like the kind of guy, even out of pads, that looks like he's wearing pads, if you get my drift. That guy, and Shane Lee, nasty. Sean in the NFL with the Cowboys. Shane Lee, a nasty human being, and he had 6 tackles. Guys like Terrell Lewis got in the action. Nice football name with the sack. But they did pretty much everything consistent across the board. Quentin Harris in a game where they found themselves in a 42-3 victory. As expected, Alabama would win, and I made it pretty clear, even though it was a goose egg at the first quarter, said, look, this spread only being right around, was it 4 touchdowns? 5 touchdowns? I mean, come on now. Alabama's going to win this game, and they're going to win it by a ton. And 39 points did cover the spread, and they should have won by even more. But efficiency, Alabama quarterbacks with Tua and in cleanup duty, Mac Jones. 30 for 36, 367 yards, 4 touchdowns, no pick. How about them apples? Doesn't get much better than that. A few incomplete passes where everybody goes, oh, did you see that? It wasn't perfect. Running game, which has got a couple new faces. Brian Robinson Jr. got into the end zone. Jerome Ford, built Ford tough out there. 64-yard touchdown. And speaking of Ford tough, you can find a number of Ford vehicles and all brands at Gordon Auto Wholesale, proud sponsor of the Alabama Crimson Tide show. Eddie Gordon's been a lifelong fan. He actually, we're going to be giving him a ring coming up here at 1:30. Looking forward to that. Gordon Auto Wholesale say yes, no credit, bad credit. It doesn't matter. Bankruptcy. Over 250 vehicles in stock, and they'll get you in one of those. That's a good feeling. Look, everybody's been through some tough times. Maybe you had to decide whether to put your kids through college, buy your daughter that Sweet 16 party she wanted, or putting a down payment on a car. I know not everybody deals with these things, but look, I got a 3-year-old running around. We got a home. We got bills to pay. Health insurance is not fun, but everybody pays it. You have to. Everything going on, and guess what? There's a lot of decisions I would love to be going out to one of the games like an Iron Bowl or every week going on the road, but staying with family, get to enjoy the time, and having somebody like Gordon Auto Wholesale that will be able to have your back, no credit, bad credit, bankruptcy, whatever, no problem, is a good thing to have. Knowing that somebody in the area is not going to say, yeah, you know, just put $5,000 down. Be like, I don't have it. I got $500. Hey, maybe I heard $2,000. It's not let's make a deal. He just said he couldn't afford it. No money down. Whatever it is, they can take care of you. Gordon Auto Wholesale says yes. Can't buy from one of the other dealers. Come see Gordon Auto Wholesale, and Eddie will take care of you. Just 2 blocks south of Airport Boulevard. Call 479-9200. That's 479-9200. And proud sponsor of the Alabama Crimson Tide. So drive by there, just say Roll Tide, and he'll come out there and hook you up. Maybe a crimson color car right there. Now, I saw the elephant-looking car right there like Dumbo. That's probably not a great look. I'm still waiting for the day that Nick Saban comes out in like out in Bryant-Denny. The like the bass drums, Scott Cochran going, yeah, 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 pumping everybody up, everybody getting rammer jammer out there, and Nick Saban on the back of an elephant. Not one of those like the small elephants they find in Barnum and Bailey's, but like the huge Indian elephant coming out there, the beast, like the one with the tusks out of one of those movies, sitting there, War of the Worlds kind of movie, or woolly mammoth style. Just put fake woolly mammoth tusks out there for Nick Saban to go on. That would be cool. That would be awesome. He deserves it. I mean, you can see a few coaches riding on the back of an elephant, and he's one of them. It wouldn't make sense at other schools. And I just want to see the mascot fight with Ralphie and Mike the Tiger and Bevo. But looking at the game itself, coming up here against New Mexico State, 55 points won't be a problem. Crimson Tide should take care of business. And that game, if you're looking for something fun to do, I know Captain Fun Beach Club is the watch party venue. They were out there. It was silent for a little while. I was out on the beach, and I heard it. Like all of a sudden you heard, because A, it was a 3-day weekend, and then B, it was a good time out there. But the Alabama watch party just erupted out there. And a lot of fun out there, a lot of people enjoying their time, and you're going to get some Bama score shots because, it is pretty awesome. What's the difference about this year's Alabama offense to last year? That's one of the big questions, especially after 0-0 until the 42-3 win. But I think it was more about getting it into the playmakers' hands that you have, Jerry Jeudy, Devontae Smith, guys like Ruggs, Jalen Waddle. Get it to open space quickly and let them create. And you saw that. You saw it in a big way. And this team's going to continue. They had 3 possessions with 12 or more snaps with 2 more 9-play touchdown drives. So it's not that they're going downfield and just trying for the big strike. Because here's 2 things about that. Alabama is usually bigger, stronger, and faster than you. Unless you're listening out there and you play in the NFL, like, nah, bro. Nah, first round pick. Check out the ring. Only a few guys. Like Fred Robbins is listening. We got the NFL Tailgate Show this Sunday. Some of the NFL players, Fred, Emery, some of those guys down at World of Beer. Now, if you're one of those very few guys, like Doug Baldwin's driving around Gulf Breeze right now, stuck on the bridge, and he's listening, those guys can say that. Josh Sitton's in town, those guys. But overall, if you're talking about the Alabama Crimson Tide players, when they play you in college football, they are bigger, they are stronger, and they are faster. And Coach Gene Stallings joined me on the Sports Drive yesterday, and he always says, and it's sort of like the old Tom Osborne saying, it's not about the X's and the O's, it's about the Jimmies and the Joes. The players are going to win. Bad coaches that are good recruiters, which is part of coaching, so I'll give them credit for it. It's like spelling your name right. You get points for it on the SAT. Brilliante was tough. I always had to think of it. Is there an I? But overall, when you talk about the Alabama Crimson Tide, they were like that against every team they played. Until they played against Clemson last year, who was at that day, and maybe, as we see now, maybe they are just as big, just as strong, just as fast. Georgia's a pretty straight-up version as well, what Kirby Smart's built out there. The predecessor and moving on at his alma mater, still always be the hearts there as one of the defensive coordinators that helped lead them to so many national title games. While the OCs were getting shipped out left and right, Kirby Smart was always there. But those 3 teams, and then you've got Ohio State and Oklahoma, they're going to get athletes, but they're not the complete package. It's like the lady that has one part or the other in sort of the ratio, but isn't one of those videos that you see dancing around with one of the rappers. You know what I mean? The full curvature. It's a little different. There's part of it, and you're like, hey, I'll take any of them. Just give me, yeah, you're cool. Not even sure. Yep, cool, come on, come over. Like, those people, you look at Alabama, they've always been the complete package. Clemson was as well. But outside of that, when they play a team like Duke and when they play New Mexico State, you could hit them with a one and done, or you can go in a 12-play drive, and every play is going to wear down that defense, wear down those linebackers. Duke came out all fresh and fresh and so clean and jumping around and having a good time and everything. Man, this team's for real. How many people are like, how many Bama fans listening right now saw that game and were like, dude, this team's pretty good. It's not that bad. They lost Daniel Jones. Can't believe the Giants drafted him. And all of a sudden, you see these guys out there that are competing, and you're like, where did this team come from? Zion Williamson out there? Is he back? Coach K? Mike Krzyzewski? But then all of a sudden you look and you see what Nick Saban, you saw what the offense was doing. 12-play drives and wearing down a defense. Every time the offensive line, like Alex Leatherwood from Booker T. Washington, and those big guys up front, the big nasties inside, hit you on offense and defense, it takes a toll. Nobody was going to make a comment like Willie Taggart on hydration that day. But overall, it took a toll. And it wasn't coincidental that it was 0-0 in the first quarter, but by the end of the third quarter, it was 35-3. That fresh look went out the window real quick and with some dirty dishes when the Crimson Tide wore them down. And 30 for 36 efficiency shows that. Because if you go back, and one of the biggest things, so if to ask the question, because it's just me in here, so I'm sort of asking myself questions. I talk to myself like that. My wife's asked me to get it checked out. But overall, if you talk about the biggest difference between last year's team and this year's team, last year they wanted to hit you with the big play. Think about that pass against Ole Miss over the top. Think about the 70-yard plays downfield. And they're there. And the best thing about football is right when a team that means something, when they see their schedule, when they get into play against LSU or Texas A&M, who's got a tough game against Clemson this week, or a game against Auburn in the Iron Bowl, you keep those short transitional slant passes, out routes, 5 yards here and there, hit you, screen pass, 3-yard run, keep them on their toes, and then bam. Play action, you strike downfield with the southpaw and Tua, and it's game. They knew they were going to beat Duke, but Nick Saban, that team wanted to run their offense, and they did. You're never going to see an Alabama team have to run 12 plays and score a touchdown against an inferior opponent if they don't want to. But they learned so much from it. And don't get me wrong, they were trying to score a touchdown. If that slant to Waddle, if he would have broke a tackle, he's going 70 yards. But to me as a fan, I'd be more excited to see 12-play 80-yard drives than 2-play 80-yard drives against a bad opponent. Because those were 10 more chances to mess it up, and you look just as smooth doing it. Finding Miller Forrestal, Brian Robinson Jr., Major Tennyson, Jerome Ford. Those are the guys that scored. It wasn't your typical everyday names. They got everybody involved, which is going to grow them from week one. And that's scary for the rest of the league, especially when they get to SEC West play, and even games like Tennessee not looking as scary after week number one as it should not. Well, when we come back, we're going to talk a little more Alabama football as they get ready for New Mexico State. We'll take a look at some of the guys getting set to play in the NFL. The best. Who is the best Alabama Crimson Tide in the NFL today? We'll have that conversation. Some pretty good linebackers out there. About a baker's dozen of them that I can think of on the top of my head that you as a quarterback would not want to see if you heard Roll Tide coming at you. Probably another couple words you don't say around the dinner table as well before they blow you up. And probably in today's NFL, get 15 yards for it, especially if you're my guy and Tom Brady. And, hey, I'll take it. And you know what? Protect him. He's 42, and he is the GOAT. When we come back, we're going to get to more on Alabama football. It's brought to you by our good friends at Gordon Auto Wholesale. Check them out as they will say yes. No credit, bad credit, bankruptcy, no problem. Over 250 vehicles. It is your place to be when you need customer service and keep coming back. Those are the best places. After one, not two, but continuing to come back. 2 blocks south of Airport on Old Palafox. Clean cars, trucks, SUVs, Carfax checked. It's Gordon Auto Wholesale. Call them today at 479-9200. Coming back for more right here on Roll Tide Radio.
You wanted a toy at the store when you were a kid. Mom said no. You wanted a date as a teenager. The homecoming queen said no. Now, as an adult, you want a car, and all the dealers keep saying no. Finally, there's someone in Pensacola who will say yes. It's Gordon Auto Wholesale on Old Palafox, just 1 block south of Airport Boulevard. Now with a huge selection of third-row SUVs in stock. No credit, bad credit, repos, no problem. Say yes to Gordon Auto Wholesale. Call them at 850-479-9200, 479-9200, and hear yes right now.
Now's the time to find your color, your paint, and everything to get started during Labor Day savings at the Home Depot. Get the right paint for the right price. Save $10 on 1 gallon and $40 off 3 and 5-gallon buckets of paints and stains. Like Behr Premium Plus Interior, rated #1 in customer satisfaction by J.D. Power. Now starting at $14.98 after rebate. For a limited time only at the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. Offer valid through September 8th via online or mail-in rebate limit 25 gallons per household. U.S. only. See store for details.
Geico presents Yikes! Another voicemail from your roommate.
Sup, roomie? Hey, a pipe burst in the basement. It's completely flooded. Anyway, I called for someone to fix it, but in the meantime, I was thinking we could finally have that indoor pool party we've always wanted. I got some cool swan floaty things already going. Could you pick up some chips on your way home? Later.
The Geico Insurance Agency could help keep your personal property protected, like if your roommate isn't the brightest pool float in the flooded basement. Visit geico.com to see how easy it is to switch and save on renter's insurance.
Sports commentary, legendary interviews, in-studio guests, expert opinions. It's the Sports Drive with Chad Brilliante.
A guy like Kevin Durant and Steph Curry, they know they could go to another team and put up freakish numbers, but sharing the wealth across the board makes them a better team.
Catch up on the day's biggest sports stories on your drive home. The Sports Drive with Chad Brilliante. Weekday afternoons from 5 till 7 on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 FM 99.1.
You're listening to Pensacola's local and ESPN sports station. Your favorite ESPN radio shows, plus high school and UWF Argo football. ESPN Pensacola 1330.
And welcome back right here to Roll Tide Radio on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. I'm Chad Brilliante. Glad to be with you here as we have our college shows each and every day from 1 to 2. Really a college football slate. NFL Florida Gator coach Kay Stevenson from 12 to 1. Then all of a sudden from 1 to 2, get a chance to listen to all your favorite college shows. Enjoyed Terrence A. Gross on yesterday with Joe Ford, talking some Florida State talk. And look, Florida State obviously had a tough game and didn't want to hear about players not being hydrated. And who knows if Willie Taggart... I was talking to Coach K off the air as we transitioned in and out from his show. And Coach had a great point. It's all about the context of how they say it today. Because you know the media is just going to print it no matter what. I mean, you could say anything. You could be up here like, man, my head hurts. And all of a sudden you see like a report like late night goes wrong for Brilliante. Be like, I didn't say I was out drinking. I didn't say that. But like all of a sudden you say one thing and people are going to take it. His head is hurting so bad. Shouldn't have been doing tequila shots. And they wouldn't be wrong. It wasn't last night or anytime soon, but college, takes a toll on you. Living in Vegas for 4 years is an alias name, Vegas Chip. But overall, Coach made a great point about if Willie Taggart would have said, hey, look, it was a tough loss. Guys had it, lost it. It was right in front of us. I don't think we were hydrated enough in the second half. And all of a sudden they're like, ding, that's going to get headlines and irk people. And that's a different way. First off, you just got to know in that as the public figure, not even as a 20, 21-year-old kid, but as the coach, you just can't say anything like that. The second you say anything like that, people are going to pick up on it and start coming at you. That's how it works. And Nick Saban does such a great job of not ever letting anybody know that. That's the thing about Nick Saban, is what he says, a lot of times people sit back and go, that's the right thing to say. Why didn't I think of that? That's the funny part when you talk about Nick Saban, is he always says the thing you're thinking, and now that he's gained the exposure, where 5 championships at Alabama, 1 at LSU, one of the greatest, if not the greatest coach of all time, he's earned that right, where it's sort of that untouchable, where they're not going to move him out. And he can defend more people than wanting to tick off the media or tick off other people by saying something. This is when he was talking about DJ Petway. Remember DJ played right here at Pensacola Catholic? He's a great 2-star athlete, 6'2", 270, had all the tools, and he got in trouble. Got in trouble with the situation and got kicked off the team. Well, he went to Last Chance U at East Mississippi Community College. And the next thing you know, he got another shot with Alabama. Made the most of his career, got a chance to play with the Saints for a little bit. Hey, he could be right now listening in Pensacola. And DJ, I believe that you deserve second chances like everybody. It's what you make with your second chance that's the most important thing. Because everybody's going to get in trouble. Everyone's going to do stupid things. I can't go 30 seconds without, I'm sure, somebody being angry at me. But it's the second or third decision, hopefully the second one, though, that you make, that decision. And it's not always easy. But for DJ, he decided, you know what, I'm going to suck it up. I'm going to pay my dues and then go back to Alabama. He knew he was a good enough athlete. And remember, this is what Nick Saban had to say when everybody else wasn't really having this to say. But this is something everybody should listen to because it's worth it.
There's always a lot of criticism out there when somebody does something wrong. Everybody wants to know, how are you going to punish the guy? All right, but there's not enough for 19 and 20-year-old kids, people out there saying, why don't you give them another chance? All right, so I'm going to give a speech right now about this. Like, where do you want him to be? Guy makes a mistake. Where do you want him to be? You want him to be in the street? Or do you want him to be here graduating? You know, when I was over there at the Nagurski, Muhsin Muhammad, who played 15 years for the Carolina Panthers, played for me at Michigan State. Everybody in the school, every newspaper guy, everybody was killing a guy because he got in trouble and said there's no way he should be on our team. I didn't kick him off the team. I suspended him. I made him do stuff. He graduated from Michigan State. He played 15 years in the league. All right, he's a president of a company now. And he has 7 children, and his oldest daughter goes to Princeton. So who was right? I feel strong about this now, really strong. All right, about all the criticism out there of every guy that's 19 years old that makes a mistake, and you all kill him. And then some people won't stand up for him. So my question to you is, where do you want him to be? You want to condemn him to a life sentence? Or do you want the guy to have his children going to Princeton?
And there it was right there. When Nick Saban speaks, people listen. But, you know, talking about a great example of Muhsin Muhammad, who I remember crushing the Patriots in a Super Bowl with Jake Delhomme right there for the Carolina Panthers, had a great career. And giving a guy a second opportunity, especially a guy of that power. When you have somebody with that type of power, like Nick Saban, and he comes to your aid, because look, DJ was incredible, but there's a lot of DJs waiting to be the next DJ at Alabama. One guy gets hurt, 5-star player, number 1 recruited guy like a Dylan Moses, it's just another guy lining up. That's how it works there. So for a coach like that to go out of his way to be like, listen, get off our back, give these guys second chances. Give them. We're so quickly to jump at them in the spotlight in a football situation at 19 because they're in the spotlight, and we expect them always to be adults. They're coming up to every girl at the club. Look, I was the front door guy at a club, and it was in Vegas with a lot of players from UNLV would come with other IDs. I didn't have to check them, so I wasn't going to get fired. But overall, there was a lot of people that were out there, and they were enjoying their life, and they always had opportunities to get themselves in trouble. Hanging out with the wrong crowd, drinking underage, partying, doing things that are stupid when you're drunk. And if somebody makes it one of those sins that's maybe not one of those that you mark on the list where it's very hard for anybody to forgive, and we know what that list is. This was, I think, robbery. He used a credit card, took some stuff, nothing over the top. It's like Cam Newton's never going to be shunned for a laptop. More people talk about a church going up in Duluth, Georgia, and we should get some laughs. It's a Roll Tide show, so they can do that. But overall, it's one of those situations where you hear this sometimes, and people talk about it, but not too many times you have a coach coming to your aid. And that's a pretty cool thing. Alabama Crimson Tide show right here. Roll Tide Radio brought to you by Gordon Auto Wholesale, founded and trust on integrity, respect. They're proud to be the local business for the Alabama Crimson Tide and over 30 years experience in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama right there. Gordon Auto Wholesale says, yes, no credit, bad credit, bankruptcy, no problem. I'm sure if the Alabama game is on and you're looking for a car on Saturday because that's your day off, you can get down there, and I'm sure Eddie will have it on somewhere. Or can pull up, I'm sure, ESPN or be listening to the games. We had the Duke game, all the games for him right there. So no problem right there. Get on out there. Is the bank and can help you get in a clean, nice vehicle. They'll take care of you. Carfax check, need a car. Gordon Auto Wholesale says yes. 2 blocks south of Airport on Old Palafox there. Call 479-9200. That is Gordon Auto Wholesale, proud sponsors of the Alabama Crimson Tide Roll Tide Radio Show. When we come back, we're going to get to more on the conversation that, Nick Saban had with Miss Terry. Alabama fans know Miss Terry, his wife, who punished him for an unsportsmanlike penalty. Uh-oh. I don't think that story's going where you're thinking, and I hope not, because I don't need that image here in the afternoon. Still got plenty of work today. We're coming back for more. Miss Terry punished him right here on Roll Tide Radio.
Gordon Auto Wholesale says yes. No credit, bad credit, bankruptcies, no problem. Over 250 vehicles in stock. Third-row SUVs and trucks. Everyone's approved. Gordon Auto Wholesale is the bank and can help you get into a nice, clean vehicle. Carfax checked. Need a new car? Gordon Auto says yes. Can't buy one from the other dealers? Come see Gordon Auto Wholesale on Palafox, just 2 blocks south of Airport. Or call 479-9200. That's 479-9200.
All right, it's time for some straight talk. You wouldn't pay $100 for seats to a baseball game where you can get the same seats for $50. So why pay more on your wireless when you can get the same 4G LTE networks for up to half the cost? For $45 a month, get our unlimited plan with 25 gigs of high-speed data from Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, only at Walmart.
Savings may vary. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com.
Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical, not for sale to minors. Website restricted to adults 21 and over.
I'd been smoking for a while. I tried vaping when it first came out. It just didn't work for me. But recently, I tried My Blue, and it actually gave me the nicotine satisfaction I was looking for. My Blue is easy to use, and it lasts all day. I even like having the different flavors and nicotine options. It's nice having a choice. I think other smokers will be surprised by My Blue. I certainly was.
And right now, try My Blue for $1 at select retailers or myblue.com.
You're listening to Pensacola's local and ESPN sports station. Your favorite ESPN radio shows, plus high school and UWF Argo football. ESPN Pensacola 1330.
You wanted a toy at the store when you were a kid. Mom said no. You wanted a date as a teenager. The homecoming queen said no. Now, as an adult, you want a car. And all the dealers keep saying no. Finally, there's someone in Pensacola who will say yes. It's Gordon Auto Wholesale on Old Palafox, just one block south of Airport Boulevard. Now with a huge selection of third-row SUVs in stock. No credit, bad credit, repos, no problem. Say yes to Gordon Auto Wholesale. Call them at 850-479-9200, 479-9200, and hear yes right now.
The great thing about facts, they're proven. Like the fact that crude oil contains impurities. Or that base oil made from natural gas is 99.5% free of impurities. And the fact that Pennzoil is the first synthetic motor oil made from natural gas, not crude oil. It gives you unbeatable engine protection. The proof is in the Pennzoil. Based on Sequence 4A wear test using SAE 5W30. Find it at Firestone Complete Auto Care.
Now's the time to travel and be with the people you care about the most. And at Holiday Inn and Holiday Inn Express, we're helping you be there for less. Save at least 25% at thousands of hotels worldwide if you book by September 24th. You won't want this moment to pass you by. So book today at holidayinn.com. Terms and conditions apply.
This is Davis Allen, co-host of Sports Call with Davis and Justin. Catch Justin, Patrick, and me every Saturday from 11 to 1. College football is finally back, so join us this Saturday from 11 to 1 on ESPN Pensacola 1330 FM 99.1.
ESPN Pensacola 1330 FM 99.1 is all about high school football. Catch the biggest local games every Friday night on Pensacola's home for local sports and our sister station, News Radio 92.3 AM 1620.
You're listening to Pensacola's local and ESPN sports station. Your favorite ESPN radio shows, plus high school and UWF Argo football. ESPN Pensacola 1330.
And welcome into Roll Tide Radio right here on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. I am Chapter Leonte. Glad to be with you. I'll be back at the Sports Drive right there at 5 o'clock to today. Well, it's just going to be a short one, 5 to 5:30. Couple segments in and out. During football season, you got games to talk about. You know, we'll get into like a conversation and start getting the cue. Well, that's all the time. 5. But it's going to be a big game because guess what? This is a good week for our local teams that we cover. Think about it. Tonight alone, right here on the mothership, ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM 99.1, we're going to have the UWF Argonauts football game. Kicking off the season on a Thursday. Game that a lot of people are probably not going to, that if they're just, local alumni. Because you've got a situation where you've got a team in Carson Newman who we saw last year down here. Pretty solid team. They were a top 25 team, but in Tennessee. And it's really hard coming off a 3-day weekend for most people to justify to the boss or anything like, I'm going to leave a couple days. Most of those people are called retired or you have a really cool job that you can do that. I'm just going to come back. Came back from Ibiza a couple days, Going to head out to Cozumel. But before we do, quick stop on the G6 right there. Going to head out to Tennessee. Little Rocky Top right there. Till the Vols had to play football. But overall, it's going to be one of those kind of things where UWF, a lot of intrigue. Coach Shinnick has done a great job. I saw Mike Beaudry, the quarterback out there for UConn, the Huskies, who are not large and in charge at all in football. But he had a good game, and they won against a team they should have beat. But now new quarterbacks. J.C. Robles looks like he's going to get the start, going to go out there. But Sam Vaughn, a number of guys, that have a shot. So we're going to have that game pregame with Will Kennedy starting at 5:30. Will's a great guy, and looking forward to listening to him at 5:30 after the sports drive, and then the game will be at 6 o'clock kickoff right there on News Radio 92.3. Our good friends that have been covering the storm, Hurricane Dorian, and helping people, guiding people as they always do in the local community. I learn more about our community from Andrew McKay and guys like Brian Lewis on an everyday basis, Mark and everybody downstairs, Cheryl, Davis, all the folks, Bobby throughout the day, Bridget. If I'm leaving anybody off, I know there's a ton of other people, but everybody does an incredible job. Kyle. This might be long if I just start mentioning everyone's name, but they all doing a great job. And that is where the Blue Wahoos playoff game will be. So you can catch that Blue Wahoos playoff game right there on our sister station on 92.3. It's game number 2 of the Blue Wahoos playoffs as well. So we are looking forward to talking some Wahoos baseball. The Blue Wahoos, a team that, you remember, they weren't really even expecting to make it. And then all of a sudden, they found a way to sneak in. It took like the last week to get in. And now today, they'll continue. Their season ended on Monday. Their final game was on Monday against Montgomery. 8-0 win. And then all of a sudden, though, lost last night in a tough game. Went to extra innings 10-11. It was a late-night game. I know a lot of people are listening in. We kept you posted right here on ESPN Pensacola. And then all of a sudden, today, it's going to be back at Biloxi for the Southern semifinals. And then Friday, they come home. There's only one game they get at home. So Friday night's the game. That's it. I don't really know who did the math on this one or if this schedule is wrong, but I don't think it is because they're pretty accurate with their MILB.com. That's Major League Baseball, through them. But it's 4 games in Biloxi and then 1 game right there at home. So tomorrow night, fireworks, should be some fun, 6:35. We're talking about, hopefully we're going to be out there having some fun with the sports drive and enjoying our time to get kicked off for a big game. So you got to root them on. They win tonight, they can get that lead, and that's at 6:35 as well. So looking forward to an incredible weekend of games, and Alabama, they're taking on New Mexico State. So most of the Crimson Tide fans will be excited to see another victory. Somebody going, oh, don't jinx them. Stop with that. That doesn't work for games that Vegas sort of throws a bunch of numbers against the wall and says, oh, look, 5 and a 5. No, 6 and a 3. All right, doesn't matter. That's the spread. Roll Tide. Because really it is how badly Nick Saban wants to just pulverize New Mexico State. It ain't basketball. They're going to go out there and crush them and do what they want. Going to get to see guys like Mac Jones get an appearance and more. But from the break, we were talking about Nick Saban explaining how his wife, Miss Terry, punished him for unsportsmanlike penalty versus Duke. Now, depending how your brain works, that can go in many directions. Nick Saban flipped out on the sideline during Alabama's season opener. And after his team was issued a sideline warning, when a member of his coaching staff celebrated a play just a little too hard and stepped on the field. Crimson Tide defensive back Trevon Diggs picked off Duke quarterback Quentin Harris late in the third quarter. And when the team was dealt a warning, Saban lashed out at the referee over the call. Despite the 35-3 lead. Saban doesn't care about that. That's one thing. Old St. Nick, it could be 0-0. It could be 50-0. You could have the third string players and their grandma out there. It does not matter. Saban is going to coach the same way. That's why he gets mad at the media. When the media sort of looks at everyone and sort of smirks, like, come on, seriously, you're going to talk to us the same way about New Mexico State as you are when you played Clemson in the national title? Great team. Get up. Like, he talks the same way no matter what it is. And it's all about discipline, focus, going through the drills, being prepared. It's all about the proper preparation, preventing poor performance. That's how it's said, right? Alabama 35-3 lead, and that's when it went downhill, when the response to the penalty costing his team 13 yards as it moved it back half the distance to the goal to the own 13-yard line. Saban was not happy. Zoomed in on him. Just for men look. Remember, he's 66. Look at a Nick Saban picture when he's 43 at Michigan State to when he's now 66 at Alabama. He's found the fountain of youth. He's done it, folks. Him, Dick Clark, there's a few people that did it in the history, but he is one of them. Does not age. Actually ages better. Looks younger today. National championships and tons of cash will do that. Hundreds of millions over your career. That does it. And I guess the punishment for Miss Terry right there. Miss Terry made me run on a treadmill for 20 minutes. The leadership group had a meeting, and they wanted to implement disciplinary action. But kind of got overruled. But I'm not proud of it. I'm really not. In all honesty, there was somebody in the white. It wasn't a player. It wasn't a coach. It was a coach. I thought they were upset because the player was celebrating good play. And that sort of fueled my reaction. But anyway, it is what it is. I'll learn from it just like the players learn from their mistakes. Saban explaining about Miss Terry making him run 20 minutes on a treadmill. Hey, look, we know it. It doesn't matter what you do at work. It does not matter what you do when you are out on a football field, a baseball field. The toughest punishment, if you know you have messed up, will be when you come home. Come home to mama. Come home to the wife. And you know you've screwed up? Yep. Take it like a man. And Saban did with 20 minutes on a treadmill. That doesn't sound fun for anybody. The Alabama Crimson Tide Show brought to you by our good friends at Gordon Auto Wholesale. Check them out. Eddie Gordon, lifetime Bama fan. I'm sure you'll have the game on out there Saturday. You can pull up. The game time is set, by the way, for the folks that are looking to enjoy a nice Bama tailgate or two. You can get on out there, have some fun, enjoy the game. I'm sure if there's Bama score shots or anything going on, you will have to designate a driver because it's New Mexico State. Every Alabama game, you're going to have to do that. People are probably getting thirsty in the first quarter against Duke. Come on, bro, man. I'm not even a Bama fan. I just wore the shirt. Wanted that free shot. Jello shooter. Yeah. And all of a sudden, you watch that first quarter go by and 0-0. You're like, am I even going to get a buzz today? That 42 unanswered. But looking right now, they've put the game into the matchup predictor, and boop, 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 they spit it out. 99.9% Alabama. I don't think this, whatever type of algorithm ESPN.com uses, I don't think they spit it back out with like 0.00. You always have to give somebody, like the movie Dumb and Dumber. So you're saying there's a chance. 1 in a million. So New Mexico State gets the 0.1. Don't waste your time if you're heading out there to Vegas or down the road to Biloxi on Alabama, because it will take about $5 billion to be able to buy like a soda out of the machine. You're not going to get paid on that one. Not even worth it. Can't do it. When you're talking about those 40, 50-point spreads, you're not getting anything out of it. Alabama, though, wants to use instincts for week 2, he says. He wants to work on the instincts, wants to get out there, wants to get physical. He wants to go out there and play Alabama football, which we know that is. And you're going to hear Nick Saban during the off time talking about the things that they got to work on, because that's Nick Saban's way. That's the motto. And, you know, you'd rather have a coach like that than a coach being like, we're so good, man. We only lost by 1 field goal. Still a big L. You're not going anywhere. You're not bowling. Not even on the weekends, because we don't like you. But Nick Saban and the whole entire crew right now knows they're going to win this game. But he wants to go through the plays. You're going to see a lot of quarterbacks. You're going to see a lot of plays that if you're another team right now, send some scouts, because these are the plays they're going to practice to get set to go. Now, they might make them look a lot easier, but Saban's going to work on the little things in order for the big things long term. And this is what Nick Saban had to say about the matchup and what they want to work on. Not probably get into the details if it's going to be a fourth quarter, sit on the edge of your seat, but talking more about the situation at hand on their offense and using instinct to make the big play. This is what Saban had to say.
You know, we certainly look forward to a home opener this week. Playing in Bryant-Denny Stadium is always great. The enthusiasm and spirit is something that the players certainly have a lot of appreciation for, and so do we. So New Mexico State is a wide open team that they'll do everything they can to expose your weaknesses. They're really kind of a pass the ball, lots of spread formations, really do a good job in that part of the game. They've got kind of a veteran team, an experienced quarterback, a good runner, a really good receiver. Defensively, they've got some guys coming back, and they're a pretty good team there too. So the thing that we need to focus on most is, what do we need to do to improve? What do we need to do to get better? And understand that, we got to have the kind of instincts that's going to help us go after every team to, we talked about trying to create an identity for ourselves. You don't do that in one game. You do it over a season, and you have to play to a standard, every opportunity that you get. And we certainly respect the team that we're playing, and look forward to the challenge and look forward to playing at home.
And there was Nick Saban talking about the challenge, looking forward to playing at home. And I think overall, what he said was pretty much exactly what you expect from Nick Saban. Not going to get into the details, not going to blow up on people. He's going to keep it vanilla, but it works. It's the same scenario. It's funny because Titanic, maybe it was the ladies want to go see Leo, or Kate Winslet did what in there? Or the moments, but we all knew what happened. There's no surprise endings. Apparently somebody said there was, but I don't think James Cameron went down that path. He probably would have been making the money he did in Hollywood. And the ego. But when it came down to it, we all knew what was going to happen to the ship. People showed up. People know when they're remaking The Lion King, just new voices and digitally cooler with animals that look real. Not all of them were. When we look at that, we know what's going to happen. We've seen it already. But we're still intrigued. That's why we go to places. Might go to your local pub. You might go see the same movie twice. You like to show up and date that person more than once when you know that person, how they might act in a certain way, no matter what it is. We're intrigued by that. We know what we like. In Alabama, Nick Saban, he knows what he likes when he gets up there on the mic. He's been doing the same rodeo for about 10 years. But it works. And when it goes stale is when people will say something. When Charlie Sheen said, winning, that was pretty much as easy as it gets, because he pretty much was just saying, hey, look, as long as you're winning football games, you're going to be loved. The second you start losing is when all of a sudden, all the crisis, everything you start hearing off the field, arrests, things you didn't even know. There's probably some dirt on some coaches that people are just waiting for that one moment because it all gets piled on. And Nick Saban doesn't have that. He's run a clean program. He's getting older. He's opened up a little more. He's had some fun with the media before and videos, driving around with Jacob Copeland from Pine Forest, who his mother he ended up going to Escambia after that. And his mother really, really wanted him to be an Alabama Crimson Tide, but he went to Florida. She showed that with her actions. Literally getting up during his speech and walking off. A mama's going to do. But Alabama this week, 55.5. Uh-oh, the spread I think is moving. Looks like the Dow right now. Just went up to 55.5 as we speak. They'll move to 2-0. This is a team right now that is sitting there after a 42-3 win last week, and they will move to 2-0. That at South Carolina game doesn't look as scary. Cox weren't that feisty in the second half against North Carolina. Mac Brown was he was speechless. This guy that won a national title at Texas. Watched Vince Young and was a hero. Watched a network get named right around that time. But Mac Brown was out there. He was crying after beating South Carolina. Come back. He's like, I can't believe this just happened. He's out of words. South Carolina's not going to make that even a game. Southern Miss versus Mississippi, Ole Miss. That's not the same game as we've seen in the past. Here are the games to mark at Texas A&M, and we're going to see how we're going to get a good indicator, because what is Alabama? They're pretty much a mirror image of Clemson and how they play, the style, the physicality, everything, good athletes. So if Texas A&M goes out there and gets whooped up by Clemson, as I expect them to win, I don't know about whooped, but they're going to win the game. And you look right now at the matchup right there that they have at Texas A&M on October 12th. We'll know a ton by then. Then versus Tennessee versus Arkansas. Next, you got number 6 LSU at home, which is a good thing. At Mississippi State, we'll see how good Joe Moorhead has. A tough schedule. Western Carolina, we're moving on. Nick Saban, the games that he doesn't really want to go. That's one of these games where Nick Saban, remember, does not want to play New Mexico State. He doesn't want his players having to play a team that they know they're going to beat by that much. He's made that clear. But overall, it's going to be exciting at Auburn. Always fun, and especially the way that game ended before. Well, this has been the Roll Tide Radio Show. We appreciate you tuning in as always. For our sponsor, Gordon Auto Wholesale, call Eddie and the folks down there, 479-9200. I'm Chad Berliante. Thanks for enjoying the show.
It's
and Roll
almost
Tide.
fall, and that means football. And ESPN Pensacola 1330 is all about football. We've got UWF Argos football every Saturday, high school football every Friday night. If you'd like to partner with ESPN Pensacola as a sponsor or promotional partner, give us a call at 262-6000.
ESPN Pensacola, 1330 FM 99.1, WEBY, Milton, Pensacola.
All them dogs are counting down, about to put the anchor down. Hotty toddy, who's it gonna be?